I wanted to kind of model, what would I do if I was absolutely brand new?
Yeah.
I have limited, I just have energy. And so that's kind of why I wanted to do this challenge, was to help folks with just belief, because sometimes you just need someone else to model in front of you to say, hey, this is possible. And then you'll do the things that you should be doing anyways, because now you have a little bit more of a clarity of either what to do or what to expect. And so I would love to talk through like what are the timeless things.
Yeah.
So even before I did this challenge, what would I tell folks? These are the things to think through and to focus on.
Hey everyone, Paulson Thomas here with another episode of Spotlight Sessions. It's my privilege and honor to have Matt Deseno. So Matt is not a new name. He is one of the veterans OGs in the community. You might have seen him in our Facebook groups or conferences. He's a top player in our space. And one of the things that Matt is really known for is creating a ecosystem around HighLevel and other platforms similar to HighLevel, supporting SaaSpreneurs, agency owners that are thinking about software. And I can tell you, I've always heard great reputation around Matt. He's a solid player. He's came to a couple of our masterminds, or at least one of them I can remember, in Dallas. And this is one of my first times doing a podcast with you, right, Matt? I think.
Yeah. We've been adjacent for a while, but it usually they usually relegate me over to Chase.
Yeah, exactly. Matt, I know there's more to this story. What's your story? Like, who is Matt DeSanto? How did you get into this agency world?
Yeah, that's great. I'll give you like the 1-minute version. Is started agency 2012. It was 2018 actually when we were I had gone into like a ClickFunnels world, and it was all info products. And I was like, man, I wanted to focus on software. I was like, man, I think the opportunity here for us is software. I was a pretty big affiliate for a different software company. They cut me out. I was like, man, I want to own the software. So we started trying to build our own thing. And then I was introduced, somebody just connected me to HighLevel in 2019.
Wow.
And it was January 2019. I remember when I was signing up, it felt so sketchy to me that I called the number below. And the person answered just like normally, like, hey. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. This must be like the wrong number. Someone.
That's Sean. Was that Sean?
And it was Sean. It was Sean's cell phone. Literally, Sean's answering the phone like on the sign up page. And he's like, no, it's real. This is legitimate what we're doing. But at that point, I was blown away because I saw all that it was saying it could do. You could brand it for your own brand there. And so, and the rest has kind of been history from there. So we started on early. We launched our branded SaaS in about 3 months. Actually, in that first month back then, they let you, sign up for $5,000 a month. We could just say, hey, what feature do you like, will you want us to build? And if you look at my first post, it was like January, I asked for custom fields for contacts. That was the thing that I was like, please give me custom fields. I got no traction or votes on it. So I just gave Sean $5K. And that was our introduction to HighLevel, and we've loved it. For the first year, we just built our own thing. We had an existing client base, so kind of benefited from that, just like throwing it into it. And about a year after we did that was the first time I ever did 7 figures in a funnel. And that was so. And HighLevel didn't have a funnel builder, so we got a 2 comma club award for ClickFunnels selling HighLevel. Yeah. And then we started licensing out some of the stuff that we were doing to other agencies in the space. And so that's why we're known now.
Awesome, man. So for those of you that are watching, if you are brand new to the space or brand new to HighLevel, I really want to welcome you to the conversation, because like it took 10 years to talk about the results that we're talking about today. It wasn't just overnight success. Same thing for me. I've had 2 agencies. One was a dud, one was a success, even before I joined HighLevel. And so when we share our pain point, results, rewards, everything, like just have that grain of salt that we have great intentions. We're not trying to just tell you, hey, we did this, we accomplished this, but it's more like helping you avoid certain mistakes. So with that in mind, Matt, I thought about having a centralized conversation about this podcast. What would you say someone should do to launch a SaaS 10K MRR? I want that to be the main point of our conversation today.
Love it. No, I think that's great. It's timely too, because I recognize, like you said, the lens through the experience there were certain things that worked for me that were unique to just timing. It's like there's first mover advantages there and certain things that worked in our favor, or it's like, if you already have hundreds of customers, how do you launch as 10K SaaS? You just tell your customers this exists, right? So, but from a start from scratch, I did just like a fresh experience. And so people can find it in that Facebook group, but I kind of called out a May challenge where I was going to start from fresh, sign up for a brand new version of HighLevel, because things have changed. Like right now, like when I did it, it was all Twilio, Mailgun. So I wanted to go through the experience of like, what would be LC phone? What would be LC mail? What would I do? And I had some constraints in there where I was like, I can only spend $1,000. So I can't just blow it up in ads. I can't leverage my own network in terms of anybody's on my list. And so what would I do? A little bit scrappier version of it. And so there are, I'm in the middle of it right now. So,
can we talk about it more? Can we talk about like, okay, what was your starting point? Like, I know you didn't just come up with a challenge out of nowhere for yourself. And I know, I don't want you to shave your head, by the way. But
so the funny part is, I said, I'll do it or shave my head. But then people were like, we got to hire the steak. So now it's, I'll do it or I have to shave my wife's head. So it's like high motivation there, but I get it. So we, I have a lot of conversations every day, every week with folks that are starting off, they're new in HighLevel, and just trying to find a way to make it work. And sometimes there's a piece of belief, which I get it. It can be easy to sit there and say, I can't do this today. Someone else did it, but that's because of X, Y, Z. That's why it was easier for them. That's why it could be done. And so part of me was just like, I genuinely want to show folks this is possible, because I have lived the experience of what a fresh of breath air it is to have hundreds of customers. I mean, honestly, now we have thousands of customers paying hundreds of dollars a month, and the stability that you feel, I don't have the emotional roller coaster of, if I lose a customer, like my day's ruined. Honestly, we gain and lose customers every single day, and I don't even know it. Like I think about it this way, it's disconnected impact and revenue. So I can support my family, I can be present with them, but it doesn't have to weigh heavy on me in terms of success or failure. And I've helped, I've been able to help a few folks, but they usually have some things where it's a transition for them. I wanted to kind of model, what would I do if I was absolutely brand new? I have limited, I just have energy. And so that's kind of why I wanted to do this challenge, was to help folks with just belief, because sometimes you just need someone else to model in front of you to say, hey, this is possible. And then you'll do the things that you should be doing anyways, because now you have a little bit more of a clarity of either what to do or what to expect. And so I would love to talk through like, what are the timeless things?
Yeah. So
even before I did this challenge, what would I tell folks? These are the things to think through and to focus on.
Yeah. So if you're listening, this is perfect if you don't have a single client. Okay. So stay with me. Now, if you're an agency with like, let's say 50 to 100 clients, and you're trying to figure out how to like convert your marketing agency into a software company, which is crazy to think that's what we're doing today in 2023 with HighLevel. We're helping you convert your marketing agency book of business into a software book of business. Now, Matt, going to that 10K MRR, what's your first stepping stone? I know we talk about education, we talk about experience, we can even talk about expansion if we want to, but like, what's your stepping stone for that elementary digital marketer that went through maybe one course and that's all they know for $997?
Yeah. There is an aspect to understand the software does help. Like understanding, you don't have to get too deep into it, but I'll tell you, I thought it would take me days to get set up. I was like, I know it well. And I went through it, and I got to give you like credit to it, is it legitimately took me a week to get it fully set up. And I know the software well. Yeah. There are certain things you just like have to do. There's certain things also where you just find where now it's from like a regulatory basis. You got to like, so I guess call it real expectations, is give yourself a few days. Now I'm doing this part-time, ultra part-time in terms of the launch there. I think if someone was really dedicated at it and like, this is all you had to focus on, you could probably do it in still a few days, but give yourself time to understand it, to learn it, to actually know the product a little bit. Don't stall in that. So here's the things that I rushed and moved quickly on that I think other people can do. Is like branding domain. I spent no time belaboring that. I've seen so many people either pivot or rebrand or change it up, and it has almost no impact. So I was like, these are the things that don't matter. Is a lot of the like branding decisions or design decisions, they can have impact, but for your first 10K, you actually need to get as quickly as possible into promotion state. Yeah. So there's a setup piece. Like you have to get it set up. And I think it's super helpful when there are like, there's folks in the community that help with the setup process. We've got stuff that helps with like understanding how to set it up. But put in your mind, I want to get as fast a promotion as possible, because that's what's going to drive the sale. And as much as you think that you're going to achieve perfection, you're not. You're not going to achieve perfection. And the nice thing is, HighLevel as a product already exists. You're not trying to establish product market fit. Product market fit exists. And so I think, try to get past those first little steps and get into promotion. But that's where you're talking about the educational piece. So from a promotional standpoint, I was thinking, what is the lowest barrier problem that I could get a business to admit they have?
Sure.
What's the lowest barrier problem that I get a business to admit they have? Because most of business, like when you're buying, is you're solving a problem. And a lot of people, I see them stumble because they focus on a discomfort instead of distress. So if you think about it, discomfort and distress, both problems, but a discomfort might be like, I have a bum knee. And if you have a bum knee, you might talk about it a lot. You might complain to a lot of people about it, but you may not actually take action to solve it, or you'll be slow. You'll think about it. Someone will tell you like, physical therapy, maybe I'll think about it. I got this awesome brace. Maybe I'll think about it. And sometimes you'll just complain about it because it's just a discomfort. A distress is like, I have a broken leg. What happens? You go to the ER as fast as possible, and you don't ask a lot of questions. You're not saying what kind of fiberglass is used in your casting process. You're like, I am in pain. I'm in distress. Solve this as fast as possible. And the difference between a discomfort and distress is a lot of times education. It's an educational angle to take with that hook that changes it from like, this is a nice to have, to now this is a, I need to have this.
So Matt, like here's what I'm getting from what you're essentially putting out. So for us to get to 10K MRR quickly, you need to understand the product just enough to have an MVP to go to the market fast, right?
Yep.
Speed to market is everything, right?
Yep.
So here's what I do know about HighLevel. Like, dude, like we've got 400 plus features. You're not going to learn everything in the first 14 days. We know that, you know that. Even experienced agencies take a couple of months to really fully utilize the thing. So don't feel bad that it's this big, overwhelming, giant, like mountain of information that you got to learn how to hook it all up together. That's why we have great ecosystems around us, right? But secondly, don't let that slow you down to go to market. Going to market quickly is more important to get to that 10K than having a perfected product, right? That's what I get from your first initial suggestion.
100%. And it's interesting because it'll probably, if you want to wait until you're 90% comfortable with the product before you sell it, realistically, you're signing up to wait like 3 to 6 months. And 100%. So that can be uncomfortable for folks, but it's a reality that you don't need to understand everything to understand a few things that actually solve a problem now. So think about that for the business that you could be helping. The selfish thing says, I need to understand this fully before I even let them have access to this helpful thing. The selfless thing says, if I can even understand one aspect that would be helpful to them, it would be better for me to let them give me money and experience the benefit between now and 6 months from now. I can't tell you how many businesses where when they get a system like this, they're like, this is a game changer. And for them, this could be the difference between them having more time to spend with their family. It could be the difference of them being able to, get more customers, have a little bit more margin, maybe afford to get another employee. So like, think of the cascading impact there. You could be providing like really allowing someone to provide another job, allowing them to be a more present, parent with their kids, like all the benefits that come from just putting this tool in their hands. Yeah. And I say this as an encouragement. And then also as kind of like a challenge there is like, remember that potential impact when you feel tempted to get stuck in like a learning phase where you're just learning and learning, and think that like, even if one thing could benefit them, get it in their hands as fast as possible. They will literally thank you because their business and their lives get better with a tool like this. And so that's what I was thinking about. And part of the challenge is part of the strategy there of how do I focus on a simple thing that can translate into value for the business. And it's definitely not everything. And so, if we want, I can show you kind of like the hook that we're taking with that, or maybe talk through specifically the hook that we're building there. But that's That's definitely as fast as possible. Get to that hook.
Yeah. So here's an observation I've always had with agencies in high level, and I'm pretty sure you probably had the same observation because you serve like thousands of high levelers. Everybody gets, excited about Sean coming at you live videos.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I think of those, like we serve like 15 to 20 different types of agencies. I mean, video agency, events management, creative agencies, SEO guys, Google Ads guys,
Lead gen,
like, PR, like we're building features to fit multiple different types of agencies. In other words, everything we develop doesn't pertain to you. Right? You as an agency don't need all of it. Matter of fact, you probably don't even need most of the features to just get that helping hand over to the small business owner. And that's I'm sure that's something that you observe all the time. So when it comes to the 10K MRR concept, like what's the second thing that you see that is very impactful in getting there? Like,
yeah. So that hook, that message, kind of like the hook, the offer, and then awareness. So I think of it this way: you'll never have more customers than the number of people who know you exist. This is a bottleneck for so many folks starting out. Well, they will be building, and wonder why don't I have any customers? And the truth is, no one even knows they exist. And it's hard because you can have a lot of fun in the software. So I'd say like at least balance it. So that's what I'm doing. In like when I was kicking off is like, I need to balance my activity. I'll be honest, I was embarrassed, but I probably spent, like I said, a week of just building. Some of it was like legitimate. I had to like get stuff set up, and like there was a process to get, LC phone approval, submission. There's all these stuff, but you do it one time. You do it one time and then you're done. It's behind you and that's fine. So I had to do that, right? Like buy the domain, all that stuff. You got to do it. Once you have that, once I have a page where it's like someone could literally put in their credit card and buy, right? I did the SaaS configurator, I got this stuff set up. Then it's about awareness. And so having the hook and having the awareness is kind of key and critical there. I would love to, I can actually share my screen if you want to see.
Let me go ahead and just make sure you can share. Feel free to share. Yeah.
Do I have the ability? Okay. So here, I'll show you.
And this is the hook and the offer you're trying out for your test.
Yes. So it's important to understand as I share my screen. So Zappy Chat is actually the brand that we use to relicense technology, but this is a good model, right? And so the actual brand that I run the challenge through, I came up with a new name. I called it Falcon Chat because falcons are fast. It's such a lame, this is the funny thing. I don't love the name and I just did it because I was like, I need to get over it. It doesn't matter. I need to prove to folks that even a silly dumb name like Falcon Chat can get sales here. But this is zappychat.com/spotlight. This is like the example of the process that I'm running for our stuff. And so this was the hook. It was AI. Right now, AI is trending like it's nobody's business. Yeah. And it is a new opportunity. It is a new opportunity. This is a key critical thing. If you talk to a business and say, I'll make your website better, that's an improvement offer. And some people, if you're a driven business, you will be inclined to improve it. New opportunities, almost everyone is curious about. That's why stuff like ChatGPT like blew up and flew out the rails. And so if I go to a business and say, hey, do you have an AI receptionist that could handle any channel of communication? Do you have an AI receptionist? More than 50% of them are going to say no. I'd venture more than 90% of them would say, no, I don't have that. And so what did I do? I just implemented an idea of deficit. I took something that could be a discomfort and made it distressing. Well, I'll show you how we do that, but I made it distressing because they feel like they're missing out, right? That's why it's FOMO. There's legitimate FOMO, and this is categorical FOMO now because it's a trending topic. They see it all going out there. And so that was kind of the hook. But what we did is we make it super simple. So you can literally, put in, they can create their own, they can demo the experience for themselves. So if I call it, we'll go Matt's mortgages, give it a virtual receptionist name. Let's call it, Jordan, www.mattsmortgages.com, whatever. The interesting thing here is I'm getting a lead. So the outreach that I'm able to do it's so simple. It is, hey, we're building this thing and I'm trying to get feedback. If you could demo this, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And they come here, they fill out a form, but it's like, I'm basically giving the lead. They're giving me their number because this is how it's going to test. Then we ask them like, what questions do you want to have like qualified before you book? So, do you have a home picked out? Is this your first time buying a home?
Yeah.
And like, if they ask what's this about, you'd be like, you requested information from our website, whatever it might be. And they can literally create this. It's going to send over. We're going to see if I get a text over here. It literally auto replies, sends the conversation, and pumps it through to them and allows them to talk. Now, this is an example. You're seeing this is a HighLevel account. This is because I put in a number over here, so I'm not sharing the world my
Gotcha. No worries.
My cell phone number is the reason why I'm doing this on here as opposed to in a cell. And of course, as I submit the form, I'm like, did I pick the right number?
Did you actually submit the form? I don't think I saw you click submit. Oh, you did. Okay, cool.
No, I think it did. So
are your workflows turned on?
I know this is the classic. It could just be because I reuse the same number. So here we'll keep talking about it, and I'll find it while we're talking. But that's the hook, right? And so you could imagine versions of this where you could do that same sort of thing. You need to give them a taste in their mouth, like to give them a taste in their mouth. But think like the free sample idea. It's the free sample idea with a new opportunity, right? This idea of an AI virtual receptionist. The cool thing about what ZappyChat does is those values then like they actually build their own proprietary bots.
Gotcha.
And I might need to resubmit this through because
which is fine. So here's what I'm taking away from what you just said. So step one is actually getting yourself familiar with the platform, getting as fast as you can to being able to market and attack a certain industry, whatever you want to do, right? The second thing is having an irresistible offer. And here's a great example of being trendy, right? Everybody's talking about, AI this, AI that. Why not sing the same song to give them what they want so then you can give them what they need, right? Because we know what they want is the latest and greatest, like big opportunist thing. It's like crypto bros, right? When crypto came out, everybody's like, oh, crypto this, right? Like it's the trend. So you ride the trend, that makes sense, right? But ultimately what you want to do is create an offer that makes their life easier. And if I understand correctly, Matt, with the ZappyChat, like, is it like a unified inbox type of system? What exactly are the benefits of like an AI chat system like that for a small business?
Yeah, well, so that's what it calls their attention to, right? So why it's attractive, it's because new opportunity. I'll tell you, so we've helped some big people launch, and right now you leverage the word AI even in your branding, your name. I didn't do that there, but it is just trending, and that new opportunity of am I taking advantage of this makes it more attractive. What ZappyChat uniquely does is it's basically a connector between OpenAI and HighLevel. Sure, they can train it. They can add their own FAQs. This will give them a little demo of what were kind of questions there. You put in the website, and it'll answer crazy stuff and kind of just assume the conversational aspect of it. Sure. What ZappyChat uniquely does there is it connects to the calendars. And so it connects to HighLevel. And then we did this one just because it's a huge market opportunity, Calendly. So Calendly doesn't actually have an API, and we kind of jailbroke Calendly's API. So you can book onto Calendly calendars, but what's the hook there? The hook is there's 20 million Calendly users. And so now, as we just found that as an initial objection of them, is they'd be like, oh, I want to use my calendar. And be like, the reality is you don't. You want to use a HighLevel calendar is way better. But they don't know that yet. They're unfamiliar with the software. And so we're trying to find what is the low barrier hook, even better if it's a new opportunity that gets them intrigued, and it's low friction to start that nurturing that process. And so as they get to demo it for themselves, then they get to they get to kind of taste this.
Sure.
And so the crazy thing is, when it works, when you don't, if you reuse the same phone number, I guess like what I did there, then apparently you can it's probably like only allow once a process in the workflow there. I'll pick a different phone number and go through this, but they get a taste for this and they sell themselves.
Right.
Which is, that's really the hardest thing for folks, is when you're starting out. A lot of folks are not good at sales. They're just not. And you can overwhelm a prospect with features. If you go onto a demo call and you start showing them all the stuff that it does, it's like the devil's in the details. You are creating objections for yourself. And so what we try to do, like I said, condense it down to the lowest barrier thing. They are demoing on their own phones, just a text conversation with a robot. And when they see like, oh, this is pretty simple. This works great. That's when they'll actually say, this would be great. I want this for my business. You haven't even showed them the back end. And you can literally turn it on. So it's like, here it is. It already works. But they get to experience what I call those deodorant problems. A lot of what HighLevel solves are deodorant problems. Before deodorant existed, people didn't think they smelled bad. Right? It's a discomfort. It's not a distress.
Right.
After deodorant was invented, the conversation was no longer, am I going to get deodorant or not? It was, what deodorant am I going to buy? They knew they stink. Things like appointment reminders, things like a unified inbox. Those are things that a lot of businesses honestly stink at currently.
Right. So let me ask you the third step that you would suggest when it comes to getting to that 10K MRR as a brand new high leveler. Is it, so let's say they say yes, and you potentially have an onboarding call or some kind of a educational handhold to make sure they can actually use a platform or correctly use a platform or whatever. Like, what does that experience look like? And is that an area where you can potentially expand them into other areas of the business? Like, I like the idea of Trojan horse, single offer, leading the market, and then on an onboarding call, letting them know, oh, you need this, you need this, you need this, in a simple way, as long as you don't confuse the hell out of them, right? But like, like, is that what's your third,
Yeah, how do you expand and how to activate with them? So it is definitely we're thinking about like the word expansion, but it's activation. Right. And so how do you ensure the lowest amount of friction of that activation? So we think of it in terms of quick wins. And so that's why it's nice with ZappyChat with the bot, literally because those values that we pull in, we then it automates the process. So when they create the sub account, those are pulled over. So this basically they onboarded themselves in the demo, right? For at least 2 qualification questions. They can create other FAQs. They can, expand it in terms of the functionality there. But another form of like quick wins, which you're kind of thinking is like the expansion portion of it, is things that HighLevel does so seamlessly. Things like, oh, could we get you more reviews? Things that happen naturally. Actually, one of my favorite, and it's one of the stickiest things HighLevel does, is the number swap on a GMB page, right? Where that is, if you ask a business, how many leads do you miss? How many opportunities do you miss in a given week? Most businesses don't even know. And so because they don't know, they say like none.
Yeah.
They say none because they don't know the real answer. Just connecting Google Business Profile to HighLevel, and if you put the phone number in there, it does the number swap. What happens? Now you got insight into the phone number, like into anyone who calls the business from the GMB, right? That alone is so powerful at adding another one of those deodorant problems. Now they see the opportunity. And so you combine it with something like an AI chatbot that's like actually connected to the calendars and drives those conversions there. And what happens? Now you become incredibly sticky. There's no way they're leaving. And you want to, you could use this as expansion. So I'll be honest, what we used to do is we would, our hook was usually around visibility. So if I don't think like a classic, if I were to distill down like why is in almost every business, why aren't they growing as fast as they want to grow? There's 3 reasons I kind of figure out is one, people are looking for them and just don't know they exist. There's not enough visibility. You're not even a contender. You're not even on the page. They're not judging you. They just don't even know you exist. The second reason is people find you but you're not attractive or not accessible enough. And so this is where HighLevel solves each one of these stages. But, think about that. It's like people found your website, they bounce. Why? Maybe it's ugly. Maybe it's unattractive. Maybe there's not enough social proof. Maybe you don't have a chat widget on your website. That's why I love like the chat widget, just that piece alone, you get more leads because it's more accessible. But the third one is your business isn't growing because you're not responsive. And most local businesses, their responsiveness is on the tier of ghosting. They basically ghost their prospects. If you take weeks to get back to someone, you're like, it's like you're trying to get them to go to someone else. Yeah. This solves that. So we're starting with the last problem now. That responsiveness, mostly for me, because I'm launching and I want to do, I want to have a higher qualified type of prospect. If someone doesn't have leads, this is not going to be attractive to them.
Right.
However, you can now mix and match. Right. So if you now solve a distressing problem, I have an AI, receptionist on my site now, it can respond quickly to leads, whatever it might be. Now, if you say, hey, would you be interested in more visibility, more visits? We have this cool thing where it can index your website and just, literally backlink over, 90 different spots, and even does, all these things. And it's just the Yext integration. You're literally just turning on the Yext integration for what are you doing? Increasing visibility. So you can kind of mix and match in those buckets and create tiers on top of it. But I think to your point, I recommend not having true comparative pricing to launch because you can create indecision paralysis. It is better to have, your one decision is yes or no. This is your one price. And if you're going to have different prices, they should be decoy prices, similar to like popcorn pricing, right? Popcorn pricing is like small popcorn, $8, medium popcorn, $8.50, large popcorn, $8.99, right? And so everything is pointing to just choose the large size, right? You're going to get folks that choose the small because they're like, I don't want to eat a lot of popcorn. And you're going to get people who choose the large. But so decoy pricing works, but otherwise, if you're launching, I think it's best to just be simple, have one thing. So the decision is just yes or no on that one thing. And that's what I'm doing. So I picked $497. I wanted to do 500, but the marketer in me was like, I know I gotta cut it down. And so it made it harder. So I need 21 clients to not have to shave my head or my wife's head. But that's, really what we're thinking about in terms of how do we
launch it in the market?
How do you launch it in the market as quickly as possible? How do you not get stuck doing the stuff that's not going to make a difference for you? And how do you really experience something that is going to make an impact for those businesses as fast as possible? And so I know I blundered the demo. Here's what I'm going to encourage you. If you guys want, so zappychat.com/spotlight, you can test it out yourself. If it's actually garbage, then you can, then test it out. It costs nothing to garbage, but it really actually is phenomenal. I'll tell you the secret here. It's phenomenal because of OpenAI. That AI has just scaled to a different level. We've been using Dialogflow for the last 3 years. It's cool. There's a lot of cool stuff going on there, but now the conversational ability, and specifically we feed back the inputs of the HighLevel calendar, or like I said, the Calendly calendar. And so now it actually books those appointments. So for folks in industries where they're appointment led, they actually want appointments on their calendars. Or like if you're doing database reactivations, this is why, Rob Bailey spoke at the mastermind.
Yeah.
Rob sends everybody to ZappyChat because from like how do you empower your own agency to not have to do all the responding? You got to find robots or teams or whatever it is to create more leverage there. But this is where, from a pure SaaS play, it's that 1 degree removed, right? We're putting them in a place where now they could do their own reactivations. This is Rob. Rob's awesome. But it's funny because he's like, you could do the same thing and charge like 10 times what we charge. You totally could if you just own the whole process there. I just prefer, a lot of lower to mid-ticket folks, because then I don't have to be. I don't do one-on-one calls. I don't have my day booked up.
Yeah, it's not a white glove service anymore where you took on a $20,000, $25,000 big custom job, and they're like, blowing up your wife's phone and your phone number and your business partner. And like, it's just like this big hectic thing where you could have easily sold like 30 mid-ticket or lower ticket items, right? And then you have less fulfillment, less headaches, more insurance, more stability, less velocity in your volatility, in your book of business. So Matt, I want to ask you a few more things before we jump off. Like,
Yeah,
so
please.
let's say I'm brand new in the high level space. You told me get familiar with the platform is my first stepping stone. So I have enough to create an MVP to go to market with speed. Second thing you told me is to have an irresistible offer that's trendy, similar to what you just shared on the AI and Zappy Chat and all that. The third thing is helping them see what else is possible from an expansion standpoint, as long as it doesn't confuse them, because a confused mind do not buy, right? So
Yep.
you have to kind of tread lightly there. The last couple of questions I have is like, let's say I'm an agency that have 50 customers or 100 customers, they're Facebook ads people, they're Google ads people. I have some kind of a commitment. Like, where do I even start on a migration or a transition to this model? Because I see the value of SaaS, Matt, but how do I take my $2,000 Facebook ads people and move them into a software book of business?
Yeah. So this is where the AI side is nice. It's a new opportunity. Pick a new opportunity, then it's sensible. You're a reputable provider. And so you can basically say, hey, maybe you want to check this out. This is actually how we launched. We launched with a book of business. I had already seen like this is crazy to think about. 2019 doesn't seem that long ago, but literally the new opportunity then, get ready for this. Two-way texting. That was the new opportunity, right? And that was literally that was the like it's if you're new, it's hard to believe, but if you've been around, 2018, 2017, it was one-way text. That was literally how we would do appointment reminder campaigns. It was one-way text messages. So, but that was the launch point. Is I was like, new opportunity. And that was how we did it too. We separated it out. We branded the SaaS different than the agency because I wanted a clear delineation between, professional services and software, because what we've been growing towards, and stay tuned if you guys want to follow along. In the next probably 5 years, I've already seen and been fringe of folks exiting and selling high-level SaaS companies. It is literally worth more. It is just worth more. You can get a multiple on revenue. That's only possible in software. So what I've been growing and building towards is, I would love it if I could champion the largest high-level exit in history. When we do it, that probably will be the case, but someone will come behind me and beat me. But think about that. Your energy, your efforts can literally be worth more building this thing. And so that's why you'll see examples of it in the group. And I love, if people really don't know me in like the HL Pro Tools world, that's where we kind of do the support and learning and kind of helping just get your customers up to speed with it. We've had a few folks go through that process of transitioning.
Definitely.
And that's usually what I recommend is think of it in new opportunity, easiest thing to sell. You're already a trusted service provider. And I guarantee it's such an easy little hook. If you send them a text message that said, hey, just discovered this AI booking bot, would love to get your feedback on it. And you sent them that kind of page and they get to literally demo it for themselves on their cell phone. I'll tell you, for our numbers, we're getting about 50% that say this is awesome, I want it, right? And then out of that, you can break down based on price sensitivity. We choose $500 a month, but the crazy thing about high level is we're actually probably on the higher tier. It's not that I'd say we're like mid-tier there, but like you don't have to charge $500 a month. I just chose that much because I wanted to filter out more serious businesses. I know folks, like some of the biggest accounts that are out there, probably around the $100 to $200 a month, but like you don't have to do that. It's a value-added reseller model, and you're on the back of an incredible engine, and it's still the majority of the market of businesses, everyday businesses, are flying blind.
Yeah. And what's crazy, Matt, is like, as much as high level has grown, like we haven't even touched the market. Like it's crazy to me. Like this is right now, it's May 2023. For those of you that are watching 2 years from now, we're at like 26K agencies and serving right under 800 or 900,000 small businesses. we're
Yeah.
nowhere near even touching the market. Like when you look at other platforms, they have at least 100,000 agencies, right? Like
Sure. Yeah.
we're not even. So if you jump on this trend or this movement, I would say, like you're gonna be a veteran like in no time. In 6 months, we're seeing experts come out everywhere. Right? I'm telling you, it's not because they're not qualified. It's because our train is moving so fast.
Mhm.
More people are needing automation services in general. Matt, as I kind of close out, what are some things that you would recommend to those that are brand new in the space of high level?
I mean, you guys, HighLevel does so much in the world of education. If you want to see, I've done other videos on here. I really try to just distill it out. I mean, if you want like behind the scenes, I, for a long time, literally for was it 8 years? About 8 years in my agency, I had a very much so scarcity mindset. I was like, I held all my secrets to myself. Um, the thing that clicked for me is our first son came, 6 weeks early. It was the start of COVID. It was March 16th. He was in the NICU. I couldn't even see him. It was crazy. In that moment, it kind of broke me. And I realized I needed to, I needed to,
Just be
I would do,
generous with your
I needed to
mentality.
be generous. And I'll be honest, y'all, I share this with you all because I love him so much. So that it's the funny thing there, but it was just like, it hit me with like the fragility of life and the purpose and the impact of it all. And I had friends, I had folks that got hit hard with like COVID, and like we got hit too on the marketing agency side of it. COVID hit us. You know what stabilized? It was the SaaS piece of it. And so I remember I was like, man, this is like being able to live through this. Back then there was no SaaS mode. I remember having the conversations with Sean when he was like figuring out like what was going to be this higher tier. And it was because of, it was just Sean seeing folks like us that were impacted so strongly and benefited so much from this different model. And like I said, the cascading effect there. So if you want to check out other stuff we're doing, there's other videos in there. HL Pro Tools is designed to help make it easier to launch, to grow, and even to support your own users there. And then Zappy Chat, this is, it has largely been mostly for folks, largely is for folks who are just doing database reactivations is where we kind of fit in the bill there. But now the trend is just surging it. So even a low volume, it feels cool to do AI at low volume. Like think about like, and so, yeah, those are two things that we're doing that you can absolutely check out, and always hit me up on Facebook. I'm a big believer. I benefit, you guys will see, I've benefited in multiple tiers of high level. And now I'm playing the game all out in terms of like, we're building something amazing and cool that we're going to sell and prove the path of here's what it looks like to sell a high level, SaaS to probably private equity. And I would love to help in any way that I can to help other people do this, because this is a sweet, like I said, we're living in the gold rush.
Yeah. I
In
mean,
a
it's
sense.
crazy to me. It's crazy to me, Matt, that we can take an agency and convert them into a software company without development. That's crazy to me.
And I
Right?
don't think people quite understand how
They don't.
phenomenal that is. And so,
And in addition, you as an agency gets to keep 100% of the revenue. Like for 297. Matter of fact, like honestly, you don't even have to have the 497 plan to run a software company. Like you can survive to a certain level with the 297 plan and just get a beta going with like very minimal issues, right? Like so if you're watching out there on this YouTube channel, wherever it is, and you don't even have a high level account, first things first, like go get a 14-day trial. Just get your hands dirty, get a 30-day trial, talk to people.
that's what I was going to say. So like me gaming my own system, but in the challenge, I was like, yeah. So like reach out to anybody, and you can get a 30-day trial. You can make money before, like on very little. And you just got to be willing to grab onto like that one thing. Like I said, maybe it's just the responding, maybe it's just inbox. Some business, that organization means the difference between, I mean, depending on the business, that could be thousands or tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
It's huge potential impact.
Yeah. And lastly, Matt, I just want to share an observation that I've had about you. When we had the conference in October, you received your 2 comma or whatever SaaSpreneur award. And it was so cool to see that at least one award winner out of many, maybe somebody else did this too. At least one award winner said, "Hey, I want my entire team to come up on stage with me." And that tells me that we share a lot of values together. And my gut tells me most agencies are like that. They are people oriented. And this ecosystem of HighLevel, I promise you, is not as competitive as people think it is, where people are coaching each other, seeing a bunch of things. Most people are helping hands. They're collaborative. They're guiding each other in many ways. And Matt DeSanto is one of those guys that'll always be there for you. So Matt, I appreciate you jumping into our spotlight session, man. I'm looking forward to our next one. And again, if you are brand new, don't even have an account, reach out to Matt, get yourself a link if you want, or jump into our regular links, whatever. Just get in however you want to get in, to just get your hands dirty and start building a software company instead of a marketing agency. We appreciate your time. Have a good rest of your afternoon.
Thanks for having me.